Is Matthew McConaughey too self-aware? 1. Humor as cover. The gag shows up where a clear feeling should be. 2. Small stakes, big spotlight. Candy Crush and bathroom riffs avoid the messier core. 3. Sincerity tax. It costs more to be plain than clever, so we keep it clever. 4. Persona over person. Productivity talk sells certainty, not softness. 5. Irony ceiling. Pastiche wins laughs but loses trust. And the heart of the poem. First point. At what point does self-deprecation become a mask for vulnerability? I suggest it may be when you write a poem about Candy Crush in your first published collection of poetry. I'm entirely serious. I'm afraid this may be the tipping point, convincing us that ads are necessary in the one place once free of capitalist cheese. Where we might have found the untainted world of books and audiobooks, I fear we'll now find ads. Still, McConaughey manages to turn this poem into a cheeky warning about the dangers of capitalism, which makes the irony even more bitter. Does it matter whether he's sincere at that point? Not to suggest McConaughey is a nihilist or anything, but he does seem like absurdism wrapped tightly in Texas ruggedness, which, in some ways, becomes a parody of itself. What I'm asking is this: where's the line between philosopher-poet and cynical self-commentary? Onward to the second point. How about writing and publishing a poem about needing the bathroom? Does that too become an ironic mask that projects false vulnerability? This isn't to say comedy is never funny, or always out of place in a prepared moment of vulnerability. It is to say it can disrespect the emotional maturity and intelligence of your audience. When does it turn into a mockery of your project's genuine nature, and of those who expected an authentic performance? What does it say about today's poetic conversation, if we can't find it in ourselves to be sincere in one of the most famously vulnerable kinds of art? This isn't to deny there are genuine moments with McConaughey. His audiobook Poems and Prayers is outstanding, but it still stings to feel a sour edge when a bathroom poem and a Candy Crush poem appear beside moving pieces about growing, raising kids, and finding your footing. It raises the question, why these choices? Did he mean to sour the pot? Was he unwilling to commit fully to the unveiling? Is fear of sincerity the new normal? What does that say about McConaughey's place in financial bro and productivity movements? Does he really believe the quotes he tosses out, the ones that promise a way to be a good man, a solid man, an alpha male? I don't have beef with wanting to be financially successful and a loving family man. But is it wise to take advice from someone who seems scared of vulnerability in a project meant to be soul-bearing? Maybe I'm being unfair. Maybe vulnerability isn't as strict or black and white as I'm making it. Maybe sharing humor in cheesy poems is, in itself, a triad offering layers to be seen. People don't often see celebrities as folks who shit and sweat and deal with the warts of daily life. Maybe it's a way to break the illusion between reader and poet, and bring us to the same level. Knowing yourself is messy, the self becomes many. What feels real shifts moment by moment. Seeing those shifts makes us wonder what is sincere and what is parody. But in the end, it's all part of us. McConaughey steps towards something more real. Now to point 4. Is it an ironic pastiche McConaughey provides to gain trust and compliance from his poetic audience, or is it a genuine projection of his real personality? That's the golden ticket. Can a person be both ironic and true? I don't know a good answer. It seems like a paradox, maybe one that's especially true of global fame. We can be one person in private and another in public. It's natural to make that choice, and social media adds weight to this puzzle. Sometimes we beg people to stay offline, to be quiet and keep a private life, but we also need to know we aren't alone. Embarrassing posts can haunt us, but sometimes sharing a little too much helps us stay sane. Maybe McConaughey is, in one way or another, facing the blurry lines of vulnerability and dignity to bring some peace to himself and others. Maybe we just need to cringe a little together. Maybe irony is a small gift that lets us keep some distance from the fear of being known. And maybe McConaughey keeps a few walls up while seeming to tear them down, because he wants a peaceful life. Finally, we come to the conclusion and point 5. Is there any way to answer this inquiry genuinely? Can I be objective about my feelings toward McConaughey and his poetry? Most definitely not. I bring a few layers of myself to my judgment of his vulnerability, and the puzzle he has put before me. I am a poet myself, so there's probably a generous helping of jealousy in my heart that he's had the chance to establish himself as a poet, while I am still at the beginning of my career. Or maybe I'm a little confused and pressing forward parasocial norms that aren't really there. But that's the problem. I both truly believe these things about the work, and feel the need to offer warnings. Irony, self-deprecation, and cautions all work the same way, as a way to put distance and closeness in the same space, both fighting for air, both true at the same time.